What's up? It's Weekly Metal Reviews this time. We're doing a review of the new Job for Cowboy album, Demoncracy, that came out April 10th on Metal Blade Records. They've started, everybody knows, they pretty much started deathcore and then they moved on. Now they're more of a death metal band. So, who wants to go?
Yeah, this band formed in 2003, and one thing I have to say about, I don't know why I just said that, but and one thing I guess I didn't talk about this album, the biggest thing you'll notice is her vocals from Johnny Davy, two first names, but a lot different from the old ones to this one. I figure, I think, in my opinion, I feel like on the earlier stuff, he would just, like, the way his screams were, it always sounded like, yeah, like, I don't know, it would always just sound like a certain, like, every word sort of sounded like he said it the same way. And, I don't know, I just, one reason that was the hardest thing for me to get into this band, just his screams. I didn't care for them much, but on this album, they're a lot heavier. I mean, well, yeah, his screams, I guess, are lower, and they're really sick. They're a lot different. His highs, they're different. I don't hate them, but they're different, and I think they're pretty cool. But yeah, his screams definitely make this album so much different than their other stuff. And Tony, their new guitarist, I don't even want to, I don't know if I can pronounce his last name, but yeah, he is a sick motherfucking guitarist, and really, like, I don't know, he pulls a lot of this shit together, I think, because I'm not saying it's going to be like every other person in the band, it's just like, the way he comes in and it's all of a sudden just different, and it just like kicks your ass. You think it has to be some of his doing, but I mean, I really enjoy this fucking album, and yeah, I think it kicks my ass. So, you wanna go?
This album, for some reason, I was more excited for this album than I was for, say, Cannibal Corpse and Meshuggah or Overkill, like bigger albums. Some of the better ones that came out this year. Just for some reason, I was extremely pumped for this album, especially after I heard the song was playing now, their first single, Nourishment Through Bloodshed. That song rips your face off. But overall, this album is, in my opinion, Job for Cowboy's best album yet. I love Doom, but in all honesty, I feel that album's slightly overrated. I don't know. Everybody praises that as their best album, and to me, it's far from it. To me, I love Genesis and Ruination 10 times more than Doom. Although Doom is great, don't get me wrong, but this album just steps the bar up for this band by 10 million more times. It's a huge step up, definitely production-wise from Ruination. The production on this album is freaking insane. Everything is so clear. At first, when I very first heard Nourishment Through Bloodshed for the first time, I'm having speaking problems. I was like, man, Johnny's vocals sound kind of different. And really they don't throughout the whole album. They're pretty much, I don't want to say typical, but they're how he has sounded in the past. His highs are, I think, they feel a little bit higher to me. He uses them very nicely. And his lows are just, he has some of the best lows I've heard in all death metal. But it's more than just production that they've kind of sounded a little bit better, I feel. This album is clean as my ass after I get out of the shower. The guitar on this album just shreds. You can really almost say that this is a technical death metal album with how technical some of these riffs are. Pretty much every song has a solo too, and the solos are orgasmic. They make me happy. They make me want to run around and jump. And they're killer. This album is just killer from start to finish. Every song grabs your nuts and they rip them off and they throw them 5,000 miles away so you can't get them back. Um, out of some of the best songs, I really loved Fearmonger and Tongueless and Bound. That, oh my gosh, the one part in like sort of in the middle of that song where Johnny hits his huge, like just low growl, and it just gets kind of slow and kind of chuggy-ish, and it's just that part is like the heaviest part of this entire album. But Nourishment Through Bloodshed, Whips, Black Discharge, this album's just great from start to finish. I love it.
And John Rice is a kick-ass drummer.
Oh yeah, that's my best drum performance. Too.
I've loved this band for a long time. They're probably one of the first bands I got into like heavier stuff from. But I can compare this album to like Born of Osiris's Discovery, like how much of a step up that was, and just how much like that album improved their band as a whole. I can like really relate this album to Job for a Cowboy and how much like this album stepped up and improved their band as a whole. I was surprised that this album was that good because the EP they released last summer was pretty disappointing in my opinion. But like they have a new guitarist and there's so much shred on this album. It's not even funny. Like every song has like a shredding solo. It's amazing. Yeah, like they were saying, they pretty much covered everything I need to say. But I love this band. If you like Whitechapel but want something way faster and way shreddier, you should really check these guys out. Yeah.
I think making the comparison to the Discovery is actually a really good comparison because, like Zach said, that was a huge step up from Born of Osiris, and this is just a huge step up for this band. Do not call this band deathcore anymore. You should be scolded and burned alive if you do.
Even if you call like Genesis deathcore.
Yeah, and if you go to a Job for a Cowboy show, just a hardcore dance, you should be shot in the face. I'm sorry. You can hate me all you want, but this band is not deathcore anymore. They're death metal out the ass. They're one of the best death metal bands around today, in my opinion. I am pumped to see these guys in Summer Slaughter. They will slay everyone there.
I think they're really shaping modern death metal more for like the whole entire scene. Cause I wouldn't say they're like mainstream because they're obviously not, but like they're definitely like one of the more standout bands of the whole entire heavier music scene nowadays. And I think they're really shaping like what the death metal image of like 2010 decade. But yeah.
And I hope this album is a defining album. Like after this, I'm not sure if it's always possible they can do better than this, but I mean, you think like, can they do any better than this? I mean, it's a long road ahead from this, but I mean, hopefully this is a defining album. Like, so like they'll like build off of this and go into something better.
I can almost, like, I could be wrong with this, and you may think differently, but I can almost see this band being like a Black Dahlia Murder, where every album is just more punishing, more technical, and just overall better. I can really see this band just getting better and better, kind of like Sam was kind of leaning towards. This is a good album.
It blows Doom out of the water, no question.
This is amazing.
It sounds like a lot more thrashier, really fast paced. Like Genesis focused more on like brutality and just like, I don't know, like sort of like it wasn't like slow, but it was slower than say compared to this. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing because we saw them a year ago, and they didn't really tell anyone that like the two members left. So it was kind of like what the fuck happened for a while, and then they released EP, and it's like what's going on.
It's kind of like where was the Ginger?
Yeah. With this album, they kind of redeemed themselves as their new guitar players. Just it's kind of like a Jason Richardson, pretty much.
Yeah. So this album is awesome. If you love Job for a Cowboy, you will dig this. If you love death metal, you will dig this. This, in my opinion, this is the album. If you are looking to get into this band, buy this album. This is really what Job for a Cowboy is all about anymore. Pick this album up. I give this a 9 out of 10.
Scores? I give it an 8 out of 10.
I guess 9 out of 10. 9.2 out of 10.
Oh.
Oh.
Those are weekly metal reviews. Goodbye.
Farewell.